My beloved brothers and sisters, many of us exhaust our hearts chasing what we think we deserve: approval, love, success, peace, forgetting that nothing written for us can ever miss us. When you rush life, you rob yourself of the beauty of Allah's perfect timing. What is meant for you will arrive without force, without begging, and without you losing yourself in the process. Allah sees every effort you make, every tear you hide, and every prayer you whisper in silence. He knows what you need, when you need it, and how it should come to you. So instead of stressing over outcomes, surrender your worries to Him and keep walking with patience and trust. When you stop chasing and start trusting, something incredible happens. Allah begins to deliver what your heart has been praying for in ways more beautiful than you could ever imagine. What is written for you will never miss you. What Allah has written for you is already secured by His wisdom long before you begin to worry about it. Nothing meant for your life is wandering lost, and nothing destined for your heart is confused about where to find you. Even when your path feels uncertain, Allah's decree is moving with precision. What feels delayed to you is perfectly timed with divine knowledge. Your role is not to panic, but to trust. What is written does not arrive late, and it never arrives early. It arrives exactly when your heart is ready to receive it without being harmed by it. Many hearts suffer because they believe effort alone controls outcomes. They push, chase, and exhaust themselves, thinking if they slow down, they will miss their chance. But Allah teaches us that no one outruns their destiny, and no one falls behind it either. What is written for you does not depend on anxiety or force. It depends on Allah's command. When you realize this, your heart begins to rest. You understand that striving is required, but desperation is not. What is yours will reach you even if you walk calmly. Sometimes Allah delays what you want because receiving it too early would break you. Your heart may desire something deeply, but Allah sees what that desire would do to your faith, your character, and your peace. Delay is not denial. Delay is preparation. Allah strengthens you quietly so that when what is written arrives, it adds to your life instead of destroying it. What comes too soon can overwhelm, but what comes at the right time heals and builds. What is written for you may not arrive in the shape you imagined. You may expect ease, but it comes through struggle. You may expect clarity, but it comes through confusion first. Allah often delivers blessings wrapped in lessons. This does not mean the blessing is wrong. It means the blessing is being protected. Allah reshapes your heart so that when you receive what is written, you receive it with wisdom instead of arrogance. Many people fear missing out in life. They compare their timelines, their success, their relationships, and their growth to others. But comparison blinds the heart to divine planning. Allah did not write one life for everyone. He wrote a unique journey for each soul. What is written for you is not delayed because someone else received something first. It is delayed because your path requires a different unfolding. When you trust this, envy fades and peace enters. There are moments when it feels like doors keep closing, even when your intentions are pure. In those moments, Allah is not rejecting you, He is redirecting you. What is written for you sometimes requires protection from the wrong doors. If every door opened, you would walk into what harms you without realizing it. Allah closes paths not to deprive you, but to guide you toward what will truly serve your soul. What is written for you cannot be taken by anyone else. No person can steal your portion, your love, your success, or your peace. If something left your life, it was never yours to keep. Allah does not make mistakes in distribution. He gives with justice, mercy, and wisdom. Believing this frees the heart from resentment and fear. You stop competing and start trusting. Sometimes what is written for you is being built while you feel stuck. You think nothing is happening, but Allah is arranging details you cannot see. Conversations are being aligned. Hearts are being changed. Circumstances are being prepared. Silence does not mean inactivity. Divine work often happens quietly. When it finally appears, it feels sudden to you, but it was never sudden to Allah. You may feel behind in life, watching others move forward while you wait. But waiting does not mean stagnation. Waiting under Allah's command is growth in patience, humility, and trust. These qualities are not delays, they are investments. when what is written finally arrives, it stays because it was built on a strong foundation of faith. What is written for you will meet you where you are meant to be, not where you are rushing to go. Sometimes Allah slows you down to keep you safe. Sometimes He redirects you so you arrive with a healed heart instead of a broken one. The journey itself is part of the gift. If you skip it, you miss the strength you need to carry what is coming. There are prayers you made that felt unanswered, but Allah did not ignore them. Some prayers are answered immediately, some later, and some in a completely different form. What is written for you often comes as the answer you needed, not the answer you demanded. With time, your heart understands why Allah chose mercy over speed. Fear tells you that if you do not act now, you will lose everything. Faith tells you that if Allah wills something for you, it will reach you no matter what. Between fear and faith, the heart must choose where to stand. When you choose faith, anxiety loosens its grip. You stop fighting time and start walking with it. What is written for you does not require you to compromise your values or destroy your peace. Anything that demands you lose yourself to keep it was never meant for you. Allah's gifts arrive with dignity. They do not humiliate you or drain your soul. When something is truly written for you, it fits naturally into your life. Allah often removes things you wanted because they would have blocked what you needed. At the time, removal feels cruel. Later, it feels like mercy. What is written for you cannot enter while your hands are full of what was never meant to stay. Letting go is sometimes the final step before receiving. Even your mistakes do not cancel what Allah has written. They may delay you, humble you, or teach you, but they do not erase divine decree. Allah's mercy is larger than your failures. What is written for you moves forward even when you stumble. This realization brings hope instead of shame. What is written for you will arrive with peace in your heart, not chaos. You will not feel the need to force it, explain it, or defend it. It will make sense emotionally and spiritually. That calm feeling is often the sign that something is truly from Allah. There will come a time when you look back and see how perfectly everything was arranged. The delays, the losses, the waiting, and the redirections will all connect. What once felt like confusion will look like guidance. What once felt like deprivation will look like protection. Your job is not to control the ending. Your job is to walk with sincerity, patience, and trust. Keep your heart clean, your intentions pure, and your reliance firm on Allah. Destiny does not ask for your panic, it responds to your faith. And when what is written for you finally arrives, you will realize it could not have come sooner or later. It came exactly when it was meant to, because Allah never misses. His timing never fails, and what is written for you will never miss you. Even when your heart feels tired of waiting, what Allah has written continues moving toward you without pause. The soul grows restless when it forgets that divine timing is never idle. While you are counting days, Allah is shaping outcomes. While you are worrying about tomorrow, He is already preparing the moment when your heart will finally rest. Nothing in your life is drifting without purpose. Even the seasons of uncertainty carry meaning only Allah fully understands. Many people struggle because they believe the absence of something means its end. But in Allah's plan, absence is often the beginning of something greater. He removes what would have distracted your heart from what is meant to stay. When something does not happen, it is not because your destiny failed you. It is because Allah is guiding you towards something your soul is not yet ready to receive. Your heart may want answers now, but Allah gives them when your faith is strong enough to hold them without breaking. Some truths arrive too early and damage the soul. Some blessings, if delivered too soon, become burdens instead of mercy. Allah delays because He loves you, not because He has forgotten you. There is a hidden beauty in waiting with trust. It softens arrogance, strengthens patience, and deepens reliance. The longer the wait, the sweeter the arrival. What comes after struggle carries a different taste of gratitude, one that transforms the heart and keeps it close to Allah. What is written for you is not competing with anyone else's life. It is uniquely shaped for your journey, your wounds, your hopes, and your purpose. Allah does not recycle destinies. Each soul walks a path crafted by divine knowledge. When you accept this, comparison loses its power over you. Sometimes your heart aches because you thought something was meant for you and it left. But what left made room for something better, aligned with your future. Allah does not subtract without intending to add something greater. Loss is often the quiet beginning of something you cannot yet imagine. There are moments when you feel lost in between chapters. The past no longer holds you, but the future has not yet revealed itself. That space is not empty. It is where Allah strengthens your heart, clears your vision, and prepares your soul for what is next. When what is written for you is approaching, life often becomes uncomfortable. Old patterns break. Familiar supports fade. The heart feels unsettled. These are signs of transformation, not destruction. Allah shakes your world to rebuild it stronger. Fear whispers that you will miss your chance. Faith answers that Allah never misses His. When you choose faith, your heart stops racing against time and begins walking with peace. What is written for you may require you to become someone new. Your old habits, thoughts and attachments may not survive the next chapter. Allah reshapes you because the version of you today cannot carry the weight of the blessings coming tomorrow. There are prayers you made that are still traveling toward their answer. They are not forgotten. They are simply waiting for the moment when their arrival will heal you, not overwhelm you. Sometimes Allah allows you to struggle longer because He is building endurance. The soul that has endured deeply knows how to value what it receives. Ease after patience transforms the heart. What is written for you cannot be delayed by mistakes, but it can be refined by them. Every error becomes a lesson that prepares you for your destiny. Nothing in your life is wasted. When you finally receive what Allah has written for you, you will understand why every door before it had to close. The pieces will fit in ways your heart could not see while it was hurting. What is written for you arrives with a sense of belonging. Your heart recognizes it. It feels right, even if it came after great pain. Allah does not give you what you want at the cost of your soul. He gives you what your soul needs, even if your heart resists it at first. When the weight becomes heavy, speak to Allah. He hears the ache in your heart. Every whisper of patience is recorded. Every tear of trust is rewarded. The moment will come when waiting ends. The heart will look back and thank Allah for the delays, the detours, and the distance from what was never meant to stay. And you will realize that what is written for you did not miss you. It arrived exactly when your heart was finally strong enough to hold it. Patience prepares the heart for what's coming. Patience is not simply waiting while life passes by. It is the quiet strength that grows inside the heart when you trust Allah even when nothing seems to be moving. Every moment of patience reshapes the soul, teaching it how to carry tomorrow's blessings with humility, gratitude, and wisdom. Without patience, the heart would break under the weight of what is coming. Allah delays not to punish, but to prepare. Many hearts believe they are ready for what they desire, but Allah sees what their hearts cannot yet handle. Patience becomes the training ground of the soul. It stretches your endurance, softens your ego, and builds your faith. What arrives after patience does not destroy you because your heart has already learned how to stand. When life slows down, it is often Allah slowing you for your own protection. If everything came quickly, the soul would grow reckless. Patience teaches you how to receive without losing yourself. It gives you the calm needed to recognize blessings when they finally arrive. Every delay carries lessons that will later make sense. The heart grows stronger, the mind grows clearer, and the soul grows closer to Allah. Patience is not empty time, it is construction. Allah is building something inside you that cannot be rushed. There are seasons when nothing seems to change, yet everything inside you is changing. Your vision sharpens, your priorities shift, your attachments weaken. This transformation is the gift hidden within patience. Patience teaches the heart how to trust without proof. You walk forward without knowing how the story will unfold, but believing that Allah holds the pen. This trust is one of the highest forms of worship. What comes without patience often leaves without peace. But what arrives after patience stays rooted in the soul. You value it more, you protect it better, you thank Allah for it deeply. Sometimes Allah makes you wait because you are still becoming the person who can hold the blessing without arrogance or fear. Patience refines your character until you are ready. Patience saves you from future regrets. Many hearts rush toward what they want and later wish they had waited. Allah's delays protect you from choices that would have harmed your peace. While you wait, Allah is aligning circumstances beyond your sight. Conversations, opportunities, and hearts are being prepared. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted. Patience teaches you that peace is not found in arrival, but in reliance. Even before the blessing comes, your heart learns how to rest with Allah. Through patience, fear loses control over your decisions. You stop acting from desperation and start moving with wisdom. The heart that has mastered patience becomes resilient. It no longer shatters at every hardship. It stands steady in both ease and difficulty. When patience fills your heart, anxiety slowly fades. You stop fighting time and begin walking with it. Allah loves the patient heart because it reflects true faith. It shows that you trust His timing more than your own desires. Every moment of patience stores reward you cannot imagine. Allah records each struggle, each tear, each whispered prayer. One day what you waited for will arrive, and you will realize the wait was necessary, the delay was mercy, the silence was protection. The heart will look back and see how patience saved it from rushing into what it could not yet carry. And when the blessing finally rests in your life, it will feel peaceful, secure, and perfectly timed because patience prepared your heart for what was coming. Patience teaches the soul how to breathe during uncertainty instead of suffocating under it. The heart learns that not every question needs an immediate answer and not every storm requires instant escape. With patience, you begin to understand that Allah is not absent in the waiting. He is present, shaping your future with careful wisdom and unseen precision. When patience grows in your heart, you stop begging life to move faster. You start honoring the season you are in. The present moment becomes a classroom where Allah teaches you endurance, trust, humility, and self-respect. These lessons become the foundation of the strength you will need later. Some of the greatest transformations in life happen during periods when nothing seems to change. Patience holds you steady while your inner world is being rebuilt. Old fears fall away, old wounds begin to close, and a stronger version of you quietly takes form beneath the surface. Patience removes the urge to control what cannot be controlled. It frees you from the illusion that everything must unfold according to your schedule. Instead, your heart aligns with Allah's timing, and that alignment brings peace even before your circumstances improve. Through patience, you begin to trust that what is delayed is not denied. You see that Allah's wisdom is not always visible immediately, but it is always active. This trust becomes a source of emotional stability that carries you through difficult days. Patience helps you resist choices that would satisfy your impatience but damage your future. You learn to pause before acting, to reflect before reacting, and to choose what protects your soul rather than what feeds your anxiety. The heart that practices patience develops depth. It becomes calm during chaos, composed during loss, and hopeful during hardship. This depth prepares you for responsibilities that once would have overwhelmed you. Patience also teaches you how to sit with your emotions without being controlled by them. You acknowledge pain without letting it define you. You accept uncertainty without letting it weaken your faith. When patience fills your heart, you become less afraid of being alone with your thoughts. You discover that silence can heal, that stillness can strengthen, and that waiting can reveal truths you were too busy to see before. Patience transforms the way you view hardship. Instead of seeing obstacles, you begin to recognize preparation. Instead of seeing delay, you begin to recognize divine timing. As patience grows, your reliance on Allah deepens. You stop seeking constant reassurance from people and start finding comfort in prayer, reflection, and remembrance. This shift brings lasting peace. Patience also softens your heart toward others. You become more understanding, more forgiving, and more compassionate. The struggles you endure teach you gentleness toward yourself and toward the world. With patience, your vision becomes clearer. You stop chasing every desire and start choosing what aligns with your values, your faith, and your long-term well-being. Patience builds inner security. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to anyone. You walk with quiet confidence, trusting that Allah's plan for you is unfolding exactly as it should. When patience becomes part of your character, disappointment loses its power over you. You learn that not everything that fails is a loss, and not everything that leaves was meant to stay. Patience allows you to grow roots. Instead of chasing every wind of change, you become steady, grounded, and resilient in the face of life's shifting circumstances. As you wait with patience, you discover that the waiting itself becomes a blessing. It teaches you gratitude for small moments, appreciation for progress, and respect for your own journey. One day, when what you waited for finally arrives, you will recognize how perfectly patience prepared you. You will receive the blessing with a heart that is calm, balanced, and grateful. And you will realize that the season of waiting was not a pause in your life, it was the part of the story that made everything else possible. Trusting Allah frees you from anxiety. Trusting Allah is the moment your heart finally stops carrying what it was never created to hold. Anxiety grows when the soul tries to control outcomes it cannot command, and fear takes over when the future feels uncertain. But when you place your trust in Allah, the heart releases its tight grip on tomorrow and learns how to breathe again. You understand that whatever comes will come through His wisdom, not through your worry. Anxiety is born from the illusion that everything depends on you. Trust breaks that illusion. It reminds you that your efforts matter, but the results belong to Allah alone. When your heart accepts this truth, tension begins to fade. You stop exhausting yourself with scenarios and start resting in divine care. Trusting Allah does not remove challenges, but it changes how you face them. Instead of panic, your heart chooses patience. Instead of despair, your soul chooses hope. You begin to walk through life with steadiness, knowing that every step is guided by a power greater than your fears. Many people carry anxiety because they fear loss. But when you trust Allah, you realize that nothing meant for you can ever be taken from you. What leaves was never written to stay. What stays was protected by Allah all along. This understanding brings deep emotional security. Trust teaches the heart how to live in the present. Anxiety pulls you into the future. Trust anchors you in now. You begin to focus on what you can do today and leave tomorrow in Allah's hands. That balance restores peace. When trust grows, the heart becomes lighter. You stop carrying the weight of everyone's expectations. You stop fearing disappointment. You stop measuring your worth by outcomes you cannot control. Trusting Allah allows you to release the need for constant reassurance. You no longer depend on people's words to calm your heart. You depend on prayer, remembrance, and the certainty that Allah is with you. Anxiety often whispers that you are alone. Trust answers that Allah is near. This awareness becomes your refuge when the world feels overwhelming. Trusting Allah also protects your sleep. The mind that relies on divine decree rests more easily. You no longer stay awake replaying fears because your heart knows it is held. Trust teaches you to accept what you cannot change and work on what you can. This clarity removes confusion and brings emotional balance. As trust strengthens, you become less reactive. You pause, you reflect, you choose your responses with wisdom instead of fear. Trusting Allah transforms fear into courage. You move forward even when the path is unclear, knowing that guidance arrives with each step. Anxiety fades when you stop demanding guarantees from life. Trust allows you to walk without knowing the entire map. Trusting Allah gives your heart stability. Storms may rage around you, but inside, your soul remains calm. With trust, disappointment loses its power. You understand that every closed door is part of a larger design meant to protect you. Trust deepens gratitude. You appreciate what you have instead of worrying about what you lack. Trust allows healing to begin. The heart finally rests from constant tension. Trusting Allah does not make life easy, but it makes life peaceful. You realize that you were never meant to carry tomorrow's burden today. And when trust becomes your foundation, anxiety loses its home in your heart. When trust deepens in your heart, you begin to experience life differently. Situations that once made you restless now meet a calmer version of you. You still feel emotions, but they no longer control your actions. You understand that fear is natural, but surrender is powerful. Trust becomes the bridge between what you feel and how you choose to respond. As trust grows, you stop chasing certainty in a world built on change. You accept that not everything will make sense immediately, and that is okay. Allah does not reveal the entire story at once because the heart is meant to walk with Him step by step. This journey of trust strengthens your faith with every unknown. Trusting Allah softens your inner dialogue. You stop criticizing yourself for things beyond your control. You begin speaking to yourself with compassion, reminding your heart that Allah is guiding every detail. Anxiety fades when you stop fearing the unknown and start trusting the unseen. You realize that even when you cannot see the path, Allah sees the destination clearly. Trust teaches you how to surrender outcomes while still giving your best effort. You work sincerely, then release the result into Allah's care. This balance frees your heart from constant pressure. With trust, disappointment becomes easier to carry. You no longer interpret delays as failure. You see them as protection and redirection. Trusting Allah allows you to forgive yourself for not having all the answers. You accept your humanity and rely on His divinity. When your heart trusts Allah, comparison loses its grip. You stop measuring your life against others and start honoring your unique journey. Trust also strengthens your resilience. You rise after hardship with steadiness, knowing every test has purpose. Anxiety often thrives on isolation, but trust draws you closer to Allah. In His remembrance, your heart finds refuge. Trusting Allah builds emotional maturity. You learn how to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. As trust grows, you become less attached to outcomes and more committed to intention. Your focus shifts from control to faith. Trust helps you let go of regret. You understand that every chapter of your life was necessary for your growth. With trust, your heart becomes patient. You stop rushing what is not yet ready to arrive. Trust also enhances gratitude. You appreciate the present moment instead of worrying about the next one. Trusting Allah allows you to face challenges with courage. You walk forward even when the road feels uncertain. Anxiety weakens when trust becomes your anchor. You stop drifting in fear and start standing in faith. Trust changes your perspective. Problems become lessons, delays become blessings, and uncertainty becomes a doorway to growth. As trust becomes part of your character, peace settles deeply within you. And one day, you realize that the heart which once trembled with anxiety now rests with certainty because trusting Allah freed it completely. Stop chasing, start surrendering. Stop chasing the things that drain your soul and start surrendering your heart to the one who created it. Chasing is exhausting because it is built on fear, fear of missing out, fear of being forgotten, fear of losing control. Surrender is peaceful because it is built on faith. When you stop forcing life and start trusting Allah, the heart finally rests. You realize that what is meant for you does not need to be hunted down. It arrives by divine decree, not by desperate effort. Chasing makes you believe that everything depends on you. Surrender reminds you that everything depends on Allah. When you release your grip on outcomes, you free yourself from constant anxiety. Your mind no longer races ahead of your life. You stop trying to control tomorrow and begin to live fully today. Many hearts chase love, success, recognition, and validation, believing that their happiness is waiting at the finish line. But happiness does not live in the chase, it lives in contentment. Surrender teaches you to appreciate where you are while trusting where you are going. When you chase, you often ignore your own well-being. You compromise your peace, your values, and your faith just to keep something in your life. Surrender teaches you that nothing worth keeping should cost you your soul. Surrender is not weakness. It is courage. It takes strength to stop running and kneel before Allah with a heart full of trust. That act of surrender becomes the turning point where struggle transforms into serenity. Chasing keeps you trapped in comparison. You measure your life against others and feel behind. Surrender frees you from that trap. You begin walking your own path with confidence, knowing Allah is guiding each step. When you surrender, you stop explaining yourself to the world. You stop proving your worth. You let Allah speak for you through your character, your patience, and your resilience. Surrender helps you let go of the need to be understood by everyone. You find comfort in being known by Allah, and that becomes enough. Chasing often leads to burnout. The heart grows tired of pushing against closed doors. Surrender teaches you to recognize which doors are not meant to open and to walk away without regret. When you surrender, your life becomes lighter. You release emotional burdens you were never meant to carry. You breathe deeper, you sleep better, you smile more easily. Surrender strengthens your faith. You begin to see how Allah moves things in your favor when you stop interfering with fear. Chasing creates noise in the mind. Surrender creates silence in the soul. In that silence, clarity is born. When you surrender, you stop fighting change. You flow with it, trusting that every shift carries wisdom. Surrender teaches you to accept what is and work for what can be without losing yourself in worry. You discover that surrender is not about giving up effort. It is about giving up control. You still strive, but your heart no longer clings to outcomes. Chasing makes you restless. Surrender makes you calm. When you surrender, you begin to notice the blessings already around you instead of obsessing over what you lack. Surrender teaches you patience during waiting and gratitude during arrival. The heart that surrenders becomes resilient. It bends but does not break. Surrender allows you to forgive more easily, including forgiving yourself. You become kinder to your own heart when you stop chasing perfection and start accepting your journey. Surrender transforms disappointment into understanding. You learn to trust that even what you do not receive is part of your protection. The more you surrender, the more you realize how carefully Allah has been guiding you all along. Your faith deepens as your fear fades. You stop chasing the world and start walking with Allah. And in that walk, you finally find the peace you were running after. When you truly begin to surrender, you start noticing how much energy you once wasted resisting what Allah was already arranging for you. Your heart softens toward life instead of fighting it. You stop questioning every delay, every closed door, every unexpected turn. You realize that surrender does not make you passive, it makes you present, and presence brings a peace that chasing never could. Surrender teaches your heart how to accept the unknown without fear. You learn to walk into tomorrow without needing guarantees. Instead of demanding certainty, you develop confidence in Allah's care. That confidence becomes your anchor when everything else feels unstable. As surrender deepens, your attachment to outcomes weakens. You stop tying your emotional stability to success, people, or circumstances. You begin to feel safe within yourself because your heart is resting in Allah's plan, not in the approval of the world. Surrender also changes how you view mistakes. You stop drowning in regret and start seeing lessons. Every stumble becomes a teacher instead of a sentence. You grow instead of breaking. The heart that surrenders learns how to release the past. You stop replaying what could have been. You stop wishing you had chosen differently. You begin honoring the present as the only place where life truly exists. Surrender frees you from the burden of perfection. You allow yourself to be human. You strive for excellence without destroying yourself when you fall short. That balance builds lasting strength. With surrender, your relationships change. You stop clinging, you stop fearing loss, you stop begging for consistency. You give freely, but you also protect your peace. Surrender teaches you that love does not require desperation, it requires trust. As you surrender, you become less reactive. You pause, you reflect, you choose responses instead of surrendering to impulses. This wisdom strengthens your character. Surrender allows you to forgive without reopening wounds. You let go not because the pain was small, but because your heart deserves peace. When you surrender, you stop trying to control how others see you. You focus on who you are with Allah. That alignment brings inner stability. Surrender helps you accept that not everything will make sense immediately. Some truths are revealed only with time and patience. The heart that surrenders learns to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. This courage builds emotional depth. Surrender replaces frustration with understanding. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is Allah teaching me? As surrender grows, fear of the future fades. You stop predicting disasters and start trusting divine protection. Surrender transforms waiting into worship. Every moment of patience becomes an act of faith. You begin to appreciate the quiet seasons of life. You realize that growth often happens in silence. Surrender also sharpens gratitude. You become thankful not only for what you receive, but also for what you are spared. The heart that surrenders no longer seeks revenge, it seeks healing. You stop chasing people who cannot meet you where you are. You walk away with dignity. Surrender makes you emotionally independent. You no longer rely on external approval for inner peace. You stop forcing conversations, relationships, and opportunities that are not aligned with your soul. Surrender allows you to be gentle with yourself. You replace harsh judgment with self-compassion. You discover that letting go is not loss, it is liberation. As surrender becomes your way of living, your heart feels lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and your faith grows stronger. You realize that chasing never gave you what surrender now provides: stability, clarity, and peace. And one day you wake up and understand that surrender was never about giving up your life. It was about finally trusting the one who gave it to you. When the time is right, Allah will deliver. When the time is right, Allah will deliver what your heart has been waiting for, not because you demanded it, but because you were finally ready for it. Every delay you experienced was shaping your soul, strengthening your faith, and preparing your life for the moment when the blessing could arrive without destroying your peace. Nothing arrives randomly in the plan of Allah. Everything comes with perfect timing, measured with wisdom far greater than human understanding. Many hearts grow tired in the waiting, believing that their prayers are being ignored. But the silence you experience is not absence, it is divine activity happening behind the scenes. Allah is arranging details you cannot see, moving hearts, changing circumstances, and protecting you from what would have harmed your future. When the time is right, everything aligns so effortlessly that you finally understand why you had to wait. What arrives too early becomes a burden. What arrives at the right time becomes a blessing. Allah knows the condition of your heart better than you do. He knows when you are strong enough to carry what you have been asking for without losing your faith, your humility, or your gratitude. That knowledge is mercy even when it feels like delay. The waiting season is where transformation happens. While you think you are stuck, Allah is reshaping your character. He is removing the weaknesses that would have ruined your blessing. He is strengthening the qualities that will protect it. By the time what you want finally reaches you, you are no longer the same person who first asked for it. When the time is right, Allah delivers in ways that surprise you. What you receive is often greater than what you imagined, because Allah does not give according to limited human vision. He gives according to divine wisdom and generosity. Your heart recognizes the gift immediately because it feels right, calm, and peaceful. Sometimes the delay is because what you desire requires other things to leave first. Allah does not place new blessings in a heart that is still holding what must be released. When something exits your life, it is not always a loss. Often it is a preparation for what is about to enter. When the time is right, Allah delivers with ease. What once felt impossible becomes simple. Doors open that you did not even knock on. People appear who understand your heart without explanation. Circumstances align in ways you could never have planned. The heart that has learned patience receives the gift differently. It values it more. It protects it better. It remains grateful for it even in difficult moments. This is why the wait was necessary. The heart had to grow first. Every tear you shed while waiting is recorded. Every prayer you whispered in the night is preserved. Allah does not waste the struggle of the patient. When the delivery finally comes, it carries the weight of every moment you endured. When the time is right, Allah delivers what you need, not always what you wanted. Sometimes your original desire was smaller than the destiny Allah was preparing for you. His replacement is often greater than your request. Delays protect you from rushing into what would have harmed your future. Allah sees the storms you cannot see. He moves you away from danger even when you beg to go closer. His protection is sometimes disguised as disappointment. When the time is right, Allah delivers stability. The blessing does not come with chaos, confusion, or fear. It arrives with calmness, clarity, and peace. Your heart recognizes it as something from Allah, not from desperation. Waiting teaches you how to trust without seeing. That trust becomes the foundation of your relationship with Allah. When the gift finally arrives, it rests on a heart that knows how to rely on Him. Sometimes the time is not right because you are still attached to things that would have broken you once the blessing arrived. Allah loosens your grip slowly, teaching you how to let go before He gives you something new to hold. When the time is right, Allah delivers what stays. The things that come too early often leave, but what arrives at the right time settles into your life with permanence and purpose. You may feel behind while waiting, but you are never off schedule in Allah's plan. Your life unfolds according to divine timing, not human comparison. When the time is right, Allah delivers in ways that restore your faith. You see clearly that He never forgot you, never abandoned you, and never ignored your pain. The waiting season humbles the soul. It removes arrogance, softens the heart, and deepens reliance on Allah. Without this process, the blessing would become a test instead of a gift. When the time is right, Allah delivers with mercy. What comes heals what was broken. It does not reopen wounds. Every delay is a form of protection. Every pause is part of preparation. Every silence carries divine wisdom. The heart that has learned to trust during waiting receives with peace when the moment arrives. When the time is right, Allah delivers what fits your life, your faith, and your future. The moment will come when the waiting ends. You will look back and understand why everything had to unfold the way it did. Your heart will finally say, "Now I see, now I understand, now I am grateful." And in that moment, you will know with certainty that Allah's timing never fails, His promise never breaks, and when the time is right, He always delivers. When the time is right, Allah delivers not only what you asked for, but also the strength, wisdom, and stability needed to sustain it. The gift does not arrive alone. It arrives with a new version of you, one that is calmer, steadier, and more anchored in faith. This is why the waiting had to last. The blessing was not only being prepared, you were too. The heart that once trembled with fear now stands firm with trust. The soul that once questioned every delay now rests in certainty. Allah does not simply change your circumstances. He transforms your inner world so that when life shifts, your peace remains intact. When the time is right, Allah delivers healing in places you did not even know were wounded. Old fears loosen their grip. Past disappointments lose their power. You begin to move forward without the weight of yesterday. Every delay was teaching you something your future needed. Without that knowledge, the blessing would have overwhelmed you. Allah never hands you something your heart is not ready to carry. Sometimes Allah waits until you stop asking with desperation and start trusting with surrender. That shift in your heart opens the door for delivery. When the time is right, Allah delivers clarity, confusion fades, doubt quiets, the path ahead becomes visible, and the heart feels steady enough to walk it. The waiting season strengthens your reliance on Allah more than any moment of ease ever could. That reliance becomes your protection when life changes. When the time is right, Allah delivers relationships that reflect the growth of your soul. You attract people who honor your peace and respect your boundaries. You stop settling for what once felt acceptable. Your heart now recognizes what aligns with its new strength. When the time is right, Allah delivers opportunities that match your purpose. What once seemed unreachable becomes accessible. The heart that once chased no longer needs to run. What belongs to you meets you where you stand. Every unanswered prayer was shaping the answer you are now receiving. When the time is right, Allah delivers without pressure. The blessing fits into your life naturally, without force or struggle. You receive with gratitude instead of fear, with calm instead of doubt. When the time is right, Allah delivers restoration. What was broken becomes whole. What was lost is replaced. The heart that endured the waiting now recognizes the value of the gift. When the time is right, Allah delivers peace that does not depend on circumstances. Your soul becomes anchored in contentment. Every tear you cried in the waiting becomes part of the joy you feel in the receiving. When the time is right, Allah delivers lessons that remain with you for life. Your heart becomes a place of stability rather than storm. When the time is right, Allah delivers freedom from what once trapped you. Old fears release their hold. The waiting taught you how to trust even when nothing made sense. That trust now becomes your foundation. When the time is right, Allah delivers with precision, not haste. Nothing arrives too early. Nothing arrives too late. The heart that has waited receives with humility and thankfulness. When the time is right, Allah delivers what stays, what grows, and what blesses your life deeply. And one day you will look back and whisper, "He never forgot me, He was preparing me." When the time is right, Allah delivers not only the result, but also a deep understanding of why everything had to unfold the way it did. The heart begins to see patterns where once there was only confusion. What felt like endless waiting now feels like careful construction. Allah never builds a future without first preparing the foundation, and that foundation is always your heart. There comes a moment when your heart stops questioning the past and starts embracing the present. The pain of the delay no longer controls your thoughts. Instead, gratitude begins to replace every complaint. You realize that if Allah had answered your prayer sooner, you would not have been ready to protect it, honor it, or sustain it. When the time is right, Allah delivers peace that is not shaken by circumstances. You discover a calm inside yourself that no situation can steal. That calm is the reward of patience, trust, and surrender. It becomes your new normal, not something temporary. The waiting season sharpens your awareness. You begin to notice the small blessings you once ignored. You become more sensitive to the signs of Allah's care in your daily life. This awareness transforms your entire outlook on the world. When the time is right, Allah delivers a sense of direction. You no longer feel lost or uncertain. Even if the path is not fully visible, your heart knows which way to walk. That certainty is one of the greatest gifts Allah gives after a long wait. The struggles you endured quietly become the strength you now carry openly. Others may not see the journey, but they see the calm, the wisdom, and the maturity it produced. This is the hidden beauty of divine timing. When the time is right, Allah delivers relationships that nourish your soul instead of draining it. You recognize the difference immediately. There is ease instead of effort, understanding instead of confusion, peace instead of pressure. The heart that once feared abandonment now stands firm in self-worth. The waiting taught you that your value does not come from what arrives in your life, but from who you become through the waiting. When the time is right, Allah delivers clarity about your purpose. You understand why certain doors had to close and why certain people had to leave. Their departure was not the end of your story, but the beginning of your real growth. The patience you practiced becomes the strength you now live with. Your reactions soften, your responses deepen. You no longer rush, you move with intention. When the time is right, Allah delivers freedom from the need to control everything. You trust the flow of life more easily. You stop fighting what is and begin working with it. Your heart learns that what arrives in peace must be protected with gratitude. You become careful with your blessings. You nurture them with sincerity. When the time is right, Allah delivers healing in places you thought would always hurt. The memory remains, but the pain fades. What once defined you now simply becomes part of your story. The waiting taught you how to rely on Allah in the dark. That reliance now lights your path in every new chapter. When the time is right, Allah delivers confidence that does not depend on approval. You walk with quiet strength. You no longer seek validation from the world. Your heart becomes a place of refuge, not of anxiety. When the time is right, Allah delivers hope that is no longer fragile. Even when new trials appear, your faith stands firm. The waiting taught you that Allah's plan is never random, never careless, never cruel. It is always guided by mercy. When the time is right, Allah delivers growth that remains with you for life. You are no longer the same person who first made the prayer. You look back and barely recognize the old version of yourself. The struggle changed you for the better. When the time is right, Allah delivers moments that feel like answered prayers in human form. You begin to trust the process even when you cannot see the outcome. When the time is right, Allah delivers a future that fits your new heart. The old dreams fall away, new ones rise. The waiting ends, but the wisdom remains. When the time is right, Allah delivers the life you were being shaped to live. And you finally understand every step, every pause, every tear was guiding you here. My dear brothers and sisters, when you finally place your heart in Allah's hands, you stop fearing what you might lose and start trusting what He is preparing. Life no longer feels like a race. It becomes a journey of faith, patience, and quiet confidence. What is written for you will come, not because you chased it, worried about it, or forced it, but because Allah is faithful to His promise. Every delay carries wisdom, every closed door protects you, and every unanswered prayer is being answered in a way your heart is not yet ready to understand. So walk forward with peace. Let go of the need to control every outcome. Keep your intentions pure, your heart patient, and your trust firm in Allah. When the time is right, He will deliver what you deserve more beautifully than you ever imagined.